And I think going back to like, okay, well, where did that come from? Where did that idea come from? And it's probably come from multiple places, but there's definitely been some breadcrumbs that have occurred over time. And it's that value, right, of when you work in an agency or a data visualization studio or any creative agency for that matter, right? You're constantly picking up knowledge from experts, massive challenges that weren't solved then, but you feel like they might be able to in the future. Just picking up all these different
Mm-hmm.
reference points. And just on that note, one that really resonates with me is back in about maybe 2013, 2014, we had one of our actual at the time first major clients. It was the Money Advice Service, right? It was a uh, UK government backed
Mm-hmm.
organization that would help people solve their money problems and more so people that were on the breadline.
Mm-hmm.
So just as Martin
Lewis.
Lewis advocates for making sure that people are smart with their money,
Mm-hmm.
save money, and don't get ripped off. This was more of a kind of government-backed knowledge source of knowledge um, in that department, and so Infograte were like the provider, you know, the exclusive provider for kind of like infographics, but we did a lot more.
Mm.
And there was this one moment, probably year two, where somebody, it'd be really good actually to go back and find out who was the person who came up with the initial idea, because there was a few people. There was Grant, there was Lucy, and a few other members of Money Advice Service have now gone on to do great things. But they came up with this concept of, and the whole theme was called protecting your world. So it was okay,
Mm-hmm.
as an individual, how can you be protected? How can you be insured for the things that matter to you? And they tried to do it at first. We got all the data right, we got all of the insights we do. We start to boil that down, distill it, see what's important. And then we were like, there's too much here. You can't get this really on a page. And if you make the page really big, like an A1, it's still, there's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did was, well, we looked at that content and realized this is not correct for a static format. This is actually more suitable for an interactive. So this interactive would kind of ensure that, like a kind of flow diagram, like, okay, you as an individual, what do you want to protect? So some people be like, oh, I've got kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I that they matter the most to me, and like I want to make sure that they're safe. Some people it might be their job. They've got a job that they know that they really depend on highly, and that's what they want to protect. It could be elderly. It could be different aspects of their life that they want to protect, and then based on that answer, it would then say one or two other questions about their life, and then it would then give you the answer tailored to say based on where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, like you are employed, and you would then want to protect your kids. It would then share with you the best insurance to think about to cover you in case of a rainy day. You know, in case there was a situation where, let's say, you got injured and you couldn't then work, or there was a mental health problem and then you had to take time off work, or you had to actually, yeah, there'd be a situation there. This would share with you the information. So like those types of solutions, it was really, really well received.
Mm-hmm.
This Money Advice Service Protecting Your World project, but that was a moment for me when I was like, oh, tailored, personalized insight
Mm-hmm.
is really valuable, not just for the people that use insight every day, right? So we're talking like highbrow, maybe like economists. We know that they'll nerd out every day on data and make decisions on it. We're talking about people on the breadline because they're not usually privy to this kind of information, and it's that thing of almost. I don't like the fact that a lot of companies are almost like are influencing their decisions in a bad way. Like there's a lot of manipulation, advertising, hence why we've got such issues right now with choices that are made, and for instance like diets
Mm-hmm.
and that whole scenario. So yeah, I think it's a really good moment to be able to bring insight to the wider population to help them make decisions, whether they're massive life matters or actually they're just kind of smaller ones.